And at 3-3, every single one wearing an orange shirt was thinking one word: Bournemouth. No. That's not how it played out, and this was rapidly turning into a nightmare. Not on Elm Street, but a nightmare nevertheless.
The Ghostbusters, where it was like, don't think of it, and it comes true. Thankfully, not the Stave Puft Marshmallow Man Halloween, but a bit of a horror show in the end.
We're a team that's not used to winning, and if you needed evidence of it, just look at how we managed that game from 3-0 up. Game management was a shambles, really. Maybe this is a sign that luck is turning.
Jack Wilshere said, sometimes you have to suffer. We've suffered a lot, and we've suffered and suffered and suffered and suffered. But here we suffered and won. And I think that just changes the narrative a little bit on it. I certainly have come around to the idea that the way it played out is going to be more beneficial to us than it is negative.
Maybe Jack and the rest of them have thought, well, let's go Kevin Keegan and let's go and score some goals. The town survived a major fright on Halloween in a game that, well, turned out to be an absolute thriller, didn't it? As we won 4-3 to book our place in the next round of the FA Cup. Alongside me to look back on a quite crazy night of football is the Lutonian journalist James Cunliffe. Jimbo, I don't think anyone saw that coming at 3-0 up.
My nerves are only just settled after that.
Absolutely, yeah. We'll reflect on that and a really positive week for the town, actually, right after this intro. Hello everyone, welcome along to another episode of the Luton Town Supporters Trust podcast, the award-winning, longest-running Luton Town podcast, having scooped bronze in the Best Football League podcast category in the Football Content Awards. This season, the show is in association with Solid, providing opportunities, provisions and assistance so our academy can fulfil their potential. As I mentioned prior to the intro, we're looking back at Luton Town 4, Forest Green 3, an absolute crazy night of FA Cup football on Halloween. And I've got Jimbo alongside me as always. Jimbo, I mentioned just then that the show's in association with Solid. Well, actually, the week started all about the academy, really, didn't it? Because the Brighton under-21 game yielded potential future new star.
It didn't it just? Yeah, 16 years old, the youngest ever goal scorer. I mean, that is a record that probably will get held for quite some time. Seems the one that had it before was Ricky Hill, and that was 49 years ago. Incredible story, really, wasn't it? Yeah, good luck to him. I mean, how is that? How is he 16, by the way? I didn't look that old when I was 16.
No, and having to look up at 16-year-olds ain't really a good thing, is it? Obviously, that was part of a 3-1 win over Brighton under-21s, which sealed our place in the next round of the Vertu Trophy. Yet to determine whether we've won the group or not. Cambridge and Brighton play Wednesday, which will decide that depending on the outcome of that game. Let's quickly have a little dissect into that game though, Jimbo, because it wasn't just about Finn Evans, was it? It was also about getting players back, giving minutes to players. Hakeem Adoffin would have been the main one. But there was a surprise in the team sheet because I don't think anyone expected Liam Walsh to be fit anytime soon. And there he was in the heart of the midfield, pulling strings like only Liam Walsh can.
It was good to see him back. No, I didn't either, because I thought it would be longer. But then I checked back on the original prognosis. It said 6 to 8 weeks. I think it's just about 6 weeks. So he's at the earlier end of that scale. But yeah, good to have him back because I think Jack Wilshere will recognise his midfield talents, having been played in the midfield himself. So he's going to have a lot of options now, I think. It's starting to look like he's going to have a lot of options, which is good because we've not had that for a very long time. So to have Liam Walsh back in the midfield, particularly as Clicker was absent the other day against Forest Green Rovers, is something that seems very strange at the moment because you've just got another player to come in and fill a role. I mean, not necessarily the same player, of course, but yeah, it was good to see him.
Absolutely, it was, yeah. Captain Shazy for the first time. First time he's captained the club, which I was surprised when Jack Wilshere said it. Actually, you just assume that he's been here so long, there'll have been a time where, even in a cup competition, he's captained the side, but he didn't. That was the first time Tuesday night. That was really, really good. That was probably a sign of how young the sort of team was on Tuesday, and that's absolutely fine. I think we kind of expected that to be the case, given the proximity of it to the Forest Green game. The other big positive: strikers scoring goals. Both cup games. We'll come on to the latter one in a moment. But Jerry Yates was the first one to stake his claim, wasn't he? With a first half double, tap in and a penalty, but they're the goal strikers live on.
You got to be in the right place to get that. I mean, I'm not necessarily, don't think he meant to get that. I'm pretty sure, was it Kadea was having the shot, was trying to get it in. But listen, he's in the right place. And that is a start for the strikers, because we haven't really had them in the right place for a long time. This season, last season, Cotton Morris is in Derby banging in the goals, but he was always out on the wing last year, and nowhere near the 6-yard area where he could do any damage. So that's a good sign. And he was he's now top goal scorer, isn't he, because of those 2 goals, which is quite remarkable. That is sort of not doesn't seem to be the favoured striker at the moment. He's the one got the most goals, although a couple of days later, Nicky Wells popped up with them as well.
Competition for places, isn't it? When one guy starts scoring, lo and behold, another guy's going to start scoring as well. Another thing to touch on from the Brighton game, second debut actually that Jack Wilshere handed out on the night. Harry Fox came on at half time at left back for Cohen Bramwell. Cohen Bramwell was never going to do 90 minutes on Saturday, 90 minutes on Tuesday, and then 90 minutes on Friday, so that was completely understandable. What I really like about it though, Jimbo, is Jack's been here for a fortnight, and he's already obviously appreciated the talents that the academy have got.
Well, he made his debut as a 16-year-old for Arsenal, so if you're good enough, you're old enough, is the slogan that tends to be thrown around, but not really. The words don't really match the actions a lot of the time. I mean, I think each manager has given debuts to young players, but for it to be that as young as Finn Evans was, and Fox is the first Lutonian born one for quite some time. I can't quite remember who the last one was. Remind me in the comments for you. Anyway, it's good to have a local lad coming through, and a left footer as well. So, Finn as well, both of them. I don't think that's recognising that he's been after this balance. He's been talking about balance, and he likes a left footer in a left-footed position. And if you haven't got one available of a first team nature, look to the academy. They've been ripping it up, haven't they? The academy are doing really well. So why not? They equip themselves really well. I mean, even aside from the goal, Finn Evans, played really well. Made a couple of little mistakes, but he's 16 years old. But he atoned for them. There was a lot of other good stuff that he did, confidence-wise, bringing the ball out, and like I say, he's a massive unit for a 16-year-old. So he can impose himself aerially as well. He's probably not going to play a hell of a lot, but you never know how far this competition goes, and you never know.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? That's the big thing about going through in that competition, that all these players that are coming back and need minutes have got another game early in December, wherever it is, to get that. Another player who needed minutes and got plenty of them Tuesday night was Marvelous Nakamba. It's nice to just nice to have him back, isn't it? I think it's still a massive work in progress before he's ready for 90 minutes in the first team, as in first team in a league game. But just should something happen to George Saville, it's good that he's there or thereabouts on the vicinity.
Well, exactly that. And if he's not going to be used, then he wouldn't have featured at all. So there's hope there. But, he still does have this knee issue that means he can't really train all the time. And, the 3 games in that week, he only played in one of them. He obviously wasn't going to play in the next one. So there's that to consider. But like you say, as a backup, then it could work. Indeed,
yeah. The only sort of negative downside, call it what you will, on the night was that Nordas didn't score the 1-on-1 when he was put through by Jerry Yates, who's come in quite a habit of sending his teammates through on goal this week. Had that have gone in, that would have been the cherry on top of the icing on top of the cake.
I didn't have any confidence he was going to put it in, to be honest. And I guess that is not going to sticking further forward in the thinking of Jack Wilshere, I wouldn't imagine. He needs something like that to go for him to start sort of making his way at Luton. Otherwise, he's just going to be a sub, and then eventually you can well see that he'll go out on loan or it'll get sold. So something like that has to go for him, and when it doesn't, it's those moments in football, isn't it? You go, well, is it just not going to happen for him at this club? Whereas other things happen, moments-wise, and you think, well, that could be a accelerator for things to come. Well, I'll tell you what I mean later. I'm talking about there.
Yeah, I mean, you look at what's happened this week with who scored goals this week, with who's come back from injury this week, and with who we're seeing pictures of back in training this week. And really, I think Nordas needed that to go in the back of the net just to keep his sort of mind in the plans of everyone down there. But it didn't. Maybe he'll get the next trophy game. Who knows? Depends where it falls in the calendar and everything else. But yeah, positive night, 3-1 win, guaranteed to go through. We'll top the group if Cambridge don't beat Brighton by 2 or more goals, or if Cambridge don't beat them at all. In fact, we'll top the group. And that'll mean we're at home in the next round. Otherwise, we're away to one of the table toppers. We'll worry about that a little bit further down the line. That was the first cup win, back-to-back wins for Jack Wilshere as well. We mentioned last week, Jimbo, that building a winning habit is kind of imperative. And it doesn't matter how you win. It doesn't matter who you beat. Just win.
You can't really judge everything until they get on a decent run. And now it's 3. That's the start of it, I think. And we hadn't picked up back-to-back since the start of the season. And I know people weren't convinced then, but I think the mood's lifted a lot now. So hopefully it's the stepping stone to further things. There's obviously a lot more work to do, as we saw against Forest Green. The last part of it, that game showed there's a lot of work to be done, whereas the first part showing a lot of work seems to have already been done. So it's a bit kind of a mixed bag, isn't it?
It is, yeah, that is for sure. Very strong Luton side went out against Forest Green. Don't think anyone was too surprised at that. There wasn't another game for another 8 days. I don't think Jack would have wanted all of his starters kicking their heels for 2 weeks and not having played. So I kind of expected a strong side against Forest Green. I hinted at that in the preview. It was great to see Izzy Jones starting. That was a real bonus. And apart from that, the team was largely, and Liam Walsh got another start as well. The team was largely the team that he sent out at Northampton, which was right. It was the right thing to do. It's kind of a game of 3/3, this, wasn't it? 2/3 we absolutely dominated, and 1/3, well, on Halloween it turned into an absolute horror show, didn't it? And let's focus on the good bits first, Jimbo, because I said it in the instant reaction. But that first hour, some of the football we played there was delightful. Now, the pitch was lovely, wasn't it? Because it hammered down with rain in the lead up to it. If you wanted conditions to play nice, slick football, we got it. But you still got to do it. And this is a team that's still building confidence. But you wouldn't have thought that necessarily in that first half in particular, because some of the moves, I mean, the move that got Fanny in for his first chance, which he should have buried, but just pulled wide of the post, was lovely. Wells into Richards, into Fanny, and then just wide of the post. And it was almost like Forest Green wanted the sequel immediately because they got it. Because another lovely move. Again, what I like about Nicky Wells, and I understand why people were cheesed off with him after the Mansfield game, missed a penalty, set the goal up, etc., etc. When he comes short, he always gets the ball. He doesn't come short just for argument's sake. He comes short and always sends the ball out wide to a player and then spins in. And once he's put the ball out wide and spins, all of a sudden he's got 20 yards to himself. And that's what happened with the first goal on Friday night. Laid it out to, I think it was Richards he laid it out to, sent through. And then it was just a case of, is he going to shoot himself? Which, given a lack of confidence and the fact that, he's not a stupid individual, is he? He probably knows that people are on his back and things like that. He could easily have gone for goal himself in that situation. Looked up, rolled it into Fanny. I was going to say he couldn't miss, but he literally just missed an identical chance 2 minutes previous. But this time he didn't. Stuck it in the top corner. Really well worked goal.
Yeah, it was beautiful. Wonderful move. I liked Jake Richards' involvement in those early passages, and particularly that goal. He was really getting involved. That was good to see. You're right, the movement was pretty good. And, Jack Wilshere only talked about, he said jokingly, but you never know, that he wants to turn Lamine Fana into Frank Lampard. I mean, he said it again after the game. He said he's not Frank Lampard yet, but he's picking up those positions that that Frank Lampard used to pick up. So that's useful. And we saw his goal scoring abilities in the pre-season, only very briefly, and then it went away. And so, yeah, he could be that. And it's good to see. I mean, he scored back-to-back games for him. And if the strikers, previous to these two cup games hadn't been scoring, then your midfielder's got a chip in, and that's a good sign. So, really pleased with that. The pass in that first half was good. Considering this was a team that 3-4 weeks ago couldn't pass 5 yards to each other. The slickness of it, the movement, Forest Green couldn't cope with it. And it was good to see.
Absolutely, it was. Yeah, another decent move led to the second goal as well. Foul sort of 30 yards from their goal. Something about cup ties at the Oak Road end that lights Cohen Bramall's gears up, isn't it? Because he's had another free kick after the Barnet one last month. Not the best hit free kick in the world, but the conditions played a massive part. He zipped off the floor, and the goalkeeper, he's got to push that around the post, hasn't he? But he doesn't, thankfully. Spills it right out in front of him. And to be fair to Wells, for a guy who probably doesn't have much confidence in front of goal, to actually still have the mentality to follow it in just on the off chance that it gets pushed straight out to him. I mean, he's not missing from once it's landed at his feet. But there are many a striker who probably are on their heels and don't follow that in. Not him. He followed it in and he got his rewards. And you could see the look on his face, what it meant to him and everyone, actually, both in the stands and on the pitch.
Yeah, pure relief on it. And that's a poaching striker to do that. I mean, to follow that up. I mean, Cohen Bramall, he's the League One Ronaldo in the free kick stakes, and he's scored an absolute worldie once. He's going to try it every single time. It's to give it the old knuckleball. But listen, it didn't go in, but the striker couldn't hold it. The goalkeeper couldn't hold it, sorry. And Wells is there. So it was no more than Luton deserved, really. It was really comfortable, commanding performance, and I'm really enjoying what I was seeing. So to be 2-0 up felt right, and it felt like this could be a comfortable evening. I thought it at the time, very much like the Ghostbusters, where it was like, don't think of it, and it comes true. Thankfully, not the Stave Puft Marshmallow Man on Halloween, but a bit of a horror show in the end.
Yeah, it absolutely was, wasn't it? But not immediately after half-time, was it? Because, I mean, you knew that Forest Green were going to come out at some point in that game, right? The thing about cup ties as opposed to league games, in league games, you've got a goal difference to preserve. In a cup tie, it don't matter if you get done 6 or 7, you might as well have a go. But thankfully, we'd got a third goal on the board before that happened. Another lovely move. And this time, this is what we're going to see an awful lot of Jack Wilshere's side when everyone's fit. Winning the ball right up the pitch. Izzy Jones, as soon as that defender took that heavy touch, Izzy Jones was in on him straight away, took the ball away from him, plays a lovely lovely pass into Jake Richards, who plays a reverse pass into Lamine Fanek, who has an awful lot of work to do with the goalkeeper charging him down, but he doesn't panic, lifts it over the goalkeeper, and Wells couldn't believe his luck again, could he? 2 goals on the night, cumulative 4 yards out, and hasn't got anyone to beat on either of them, but, there's a sort of partnership forming between them two. First goal was Wells to Fanny, back of the net. Third goal, Fanny back to Wells, back of the net. No bad thing if a striker and a midfielder are on the same page.
Absolutely. You've got to find those all over the park, and maybe the next one to work on is defence. But in attack, it's good to see that they were creating those chances. I mean, both of those two players should have had a brace before half-time, realistically. But at the time, I was thinking, well, okay, they've missed one and scored one, but it's comfortable because Forest Green didn't lay glove on Luton in that first half. They really didn't. It was so one-sided, and yeah, the nightmares of what happened after that are there.
And then, yeah, you're right. I forgot about the Nicky Wells chance off the George Savile cross. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. It does take a nick off the defender, doesn't it, that cross? That puts it slightly behind it, but he'd still expect to score, of course he would. But you saw the confidence that Wells got from that, because immediately after his second goal, he let fly from 20 yards that if he was 25 yards out and this was in the top corner, it just didn't come down quickly enough. Whereas recently, strikers have kind of been reluctant to shoot. They've played the pass rather than the shot. now that we've got, I don't know if this is all borne out from the fact that Jerry Yates scored twice on Tuesday, and there's competition suddenly, and obviously we've all seen that Elijah's starting on the way back to recovery, and we're all hearing that Jacob Brown's not a million miles away either. And of course, Ali Al Hamadi came on Friday night. I don't know if this is all just coincidence or just being there in the right place in the right time. But he's got confidence now, Wells. And I'm interested to see if he can take that into League One, because he had a good game at Northampton without scoring, and really good game against Forest Green. I mean, they gave Cohen Bramall man of the match. I mean, stick to planting trees, lads, because Naki Wells is the man of the match by a country mile. He's got an assist and 2 goals, and they could not handle him. It's good to see. I'm looking forward to what we got from him when we get back to league action.
Chalk and cheese, really, isn't it, from the Mansfield performance? And that's probably the bar where everyone has it now. But maybe this is his level, his real level, when he's got a bit of confidence, got a couple of goals now, so it's 3 for the season. Yeah, he's scored a penalty and 2 tap-ins, so he's barely, it took a cumulative yardage. He's not really got outside the box, has he, even for 3 goals. But listen, Gary Lineker scored all his goals in the 6-yard box. That's a very old reference for some people. He did used to play football, not just host match of the day, even though he doesn't do that anymore.
He doesn't, no. What he's also got, though, is clearly he's got the backing of his manager, because it would have been so easy to drop him after that Mansfield game, but he didn't. He kept on playing him. Played him at Northampton, where, like I say, he was really good by the miss in the first half from 6 yards out. Inside 6 yards, we're good. 6 yards out, still work in progress, but that's absolutely fine. No, I jest. And then, well, what was an easy... I mean, I said it in the reaction. I thought we were going to go and get 4, 5, 6, because they didn't look interested, really. They looked like a side who'd had the stuffing well and truly knocked out of them. We looked like a side who were enjoying ourselves and wanted to go and get more. And, of course, Al Hamadi's just come onto the park at this point as well, which you're kind of thinking, well, he's supposedly the best of the lot, albeit nowhere near fit. You could quite clearly see that. Not how it played out at all. I mean, to be fair, they've had a bit of luck, haven't they, to get themselves back into the game. Really good ball to the geezer out wide, but Kearley saving that cross shot, whatever it was, all day long until Ted Mengi's got a flick on it and sent it past him. Even at 3-1, I thought, that's all right, that's fine. We'll still go and get 4 or 5 and all's good. No. That's not how it played out, and this was rapidly turning into a nightmare. Not on Elm Street, but a nightmare nevertheless.
Are you getting paid for the amount of references for Halloween?
I wish I was, mate. I wish I was.
I was right behind that shot, the first one. Keeley had it all day long until out of nowhere, I didn't even see him. Mengi gets a head on it. You can look at it 2 ways, can't you, really? Because, he's trying, he's desperate to try and shut that out and cut it out. He's got a nick on it and got it wrong, and it's taking it past Keeley, and that can happen. So, I know people have criticised that and the next one, but I think that one is more throwing your body on the line trying to get out of the way. The other one's just clumsy.
Yeah, the next one's, it's just silly. Yeah, I've no problem with that. It's instinct, isn't it?
Yeah.
The instinct of a defender is to defend their goal. Now, last season, I was pulling my hair out of people who would not get themselves in front of a ball that was coming in on our goal. So I'm certainly not going to criticise someone who's put themselves in front of a ball. If we're flying, that goes over the Oak Road and, lands somewhere near Ash Road. But we're not flying, so it flicks off his head straight in the middle of the goal. And like you say, I mean, Keeley, there isn't even enough time for Keeley to shout, leave it anyway, because the ball's got a bit of fizz on it. So just one of those things. Yeah, I've no problem with that. The second one, though, I mean, he gets nutmegged, which is unfortunate anyway. But then we're in major problems, aren't we? Because the guy's clean through on goal. Mengi can't get back to him. Even if Mengi doesn't foul him, there's a geezer at the back post who's waiting for an absolute tap-in, who would have got the tap-in. So they're going to score either way. So I suppose from that point of view, you're probably better off bundling him over and hoping that your goalkeeper saves the penalty. But, yeah, not the best piece of defending in the world, that.
Yeah, no, but the whole passage, really, because they hadn't offered anything like that, Forest Green, and then suddenly they've got a man over and on a counter, and, if he didn't, then he probably, you're thinking he's squaring that ball to the fella in the box, and then that's 3-2 as well. it just doesn't look like it's not a good challenge. To be fair to him, he's gone on Instagram afterwards, hasn't he, and apologised. I mean, it's the life of a defender. It's like we're saying, the first one is just instinct. You try and get in the way, and it's gone wrong. And the second one is probably, I don't know, maybe trying to make up. He's trying too hard to make up for a little mistake that he did there, and it goes wrong again. So it's yeah. I mean, at that point, I mean, like, you're like, even then, I thought this is just 2 consolation goals here because they hadn't offered enough. It was more all Forest Green in the second half, because I think we only had two attacks in that second half. But still, at that point, I was like, well, this is a bit annoying. They've made the scoreline respectable.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah, I mean, just on Mengi, he did save a certain goal in the first half, towards the end of the first half, from that corner where the shot came rifling in, and he wasn't quite on the line. He was in the 6-yard box, but there was no one behind him if he'd left it. So he hacked that clear. So he did save us in that first half. Yeah, the game had changed. I mean, listen, we were tiring. Of course, we were going to. Liam Walsh has gone off. He's had more than enough minutes this time. Ali Al-Hamadi's come on. Clearly not fit. He's literally just getting minutes, and that's absolutely fine. And there were 1 or 2 others who were starting to sort of flag a little bit because of the workload that they've not had in recent times. So we were tiring at the time where they were throwing first teamer after first teamer after first teamer on, who just so happened to be attacker after attacker after attacker. And yeah, it was just I suppose a common coincidence, really, that as we were tiring, they grew stronger and put more attackers on. And then, well, then the third goal came along, and you know, then panic stations are starting to happen. I mean, to be fair to Jack on the sideline, he is going absolutely, he is raging, isn't he? He's like trying to get players, because we did lose our intensity. Forget the fact that some of them tired. We lost our intensity as well at 3-0 up, which was part of the problem as well. He was trying to get that back. Wasn't happening. The third goal's a bit of a mess. Guy gets played clean through on goal. To be fair, Keeley forces him wide. Bramwell puts in a brilliant block, but unfortunately he's recycled. We don't clear it. It falls straight to the guy who, well, I was going to say he couldn't miss, but later on in the evening, thankfully, he proved me that he could have missed, but not on that occasion. Thunders it into the back of the net. And at 3-3, what were there, 4,000 in the ground? And every single one wearing an orange shirt was thinking one word: Bournemouth.
Yeah, I was one of them. I just thought, how has this happened? Because it was so quick that I mean, the third one is just panic stations, calamities all over the shop, and they had ample opportunity to clear that ball and squandered it every single time. But this is the thing, you know, when we were talking about after the Mansfield game, I said I don't understand how some of them were low confidence at that point, because some of them are new, and you know, that was a mistake, or something that we saw regularly from that Bournemouth game in the Premier League onwards. And it's something that's haunted this team. Sorry for the Halloween.
How much are you getting paid?
But it shouldn't haunt the players that are new. And some of them are new. So it's mad how it goes like that. But I kind of look at it, I was looking at it through my fingers at the time, and maybe even the next day. But now we're on Sunday evening or anything about it, I'm thinking we can look at this a different way, that we would have capitulated from any point from that Bournemouth game in the Premier League to the Forest Green game. We probably would have capitulated any other time. We're talking about a giant killing. We'd have been back to square one, you know, possibly toxic because of the result. We've thrown away leads all over the place so many times. But here suddenly we've held on. We've rode our luck. Yes, really rode our luck, because they go and hit the crossbar as well at 3-3. But they've held on, and not only just held on, they've gone and nicked it. So they've turned it around at the end. And if you're going to take anything, if you're going to take omens from these things, that's another one for you, then perhaps that's it. That we're looking for little moments of improvement everywhere on the pitch, and it's not going to be perfect from a Wilshere team straight away. But you know, if you look at that first period where we attacked really well and we scored the goals, okay, there's a check mark in that column, and you've kept them or you've held on when it's really, really ropey and then gone again and scored a late winner, maybe that's another check mark in the positive column that these things can now be put to bed a little bit. We'll see. I mean, we've got to see over a longer period of time, really, but hopefully that will stand you in good stead. Winning is a habit as much as losing, so if you can get nicked late goals as well. Late goals were a specialty under Jones and even at times Edwards. Then it points more into the direction that we want to be going.
Yeah, you've just basically summed up a 5-minute discussion point that I was going to come to once we covered the game. I mean, yeah, you're right. It's experiences, isn't it? Jack can talk people through this and give them belief, but you only gain belief out of something if you've experienced it and done it and realised, actually, I can do it. You know, in anything in life, you know, when you drive a car, you don't know for the first time that you can drive a car. It's only when you get behind the wheel, actually, I'm not too bad at this, you know, or many other things in life. So we've experienced that, and we're a team that's not used to winning.
Mm-hmm.
And if you needed evidence of it, just look at how we managed that game from 3-0 up. The game management was a shambles, really. And the leaders that were on the pitch were not leading. But we came out of it the right side. In the past, we'd compounded the misery and come out of it the wrong side. And to be fair, if their captain, if his header was 3 inches lower, we probably do come out of it the wrong side. But thankfully, maybe this is a sign that luck is turning. Cannoned the crossbar and it came out this time. Sometimes they cannon the crossbar and they go in. But where I was really proud of us the other night, don't get me wrong, that 20 minutes between 60 and 80, or 25 minutes between 60 and 85, I never want to see again.
Mm-hmm.
I really don't ever want to see again, Halloween or any other day of the week. But, like you said, we capsized completely. Probably don't even lose it 4-3. Probably lose that cup tie 5-3 12 months ago. Certainly a few months ago. But we didn't. We stayed calm. We kept on going. We weren't creating chance after chance after chance, but after they hit the crossbar, thankfully, until we went 4-3, they never had another chance. And the winning goal's lovely. And it involves the 3 strikers. Ali Al-Hamadi puts himself about, wins the ball, gets it to Jerry Yates, who, given his confidence of Tuesday night, could easily have put his foot through it and gone for glory himself. Credit to him, he doesn't. Plays a lovely pass down the side of the defender. And Kadir, I mean, just hit that, son. Just hit it. And, you know, it fell to the right person, right? Because he's got some serious composure, some serious confidence. For all of the other players that seemingly have no confidence at all, it's almost like he sucked all of the confidence and taken it to himself, because he's never not shown confidence whilst he's been in a Luton shirt. And thankfully it fell to him and he tucked it away. And no extra time, no penalties, relief, or so we thought.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure he won't want to be a super sub, but so far he's proving quite apt at the role, isn't he? Because that's the second time this season he's come up with late goals to ease some sort of pressure that was potentially there. Great finish. The pass, yeah, great. He's done that a few times now, Yates. So that's another string to his bow. It was only 4,000 in the ground, but it felt like the noise levels felt like a lot more. And you can say it's only Forest Green Rovers, and it was. No disrespect, they were fantastic for that second period. Really, really fantastic, and they got clapped off at the end quite rightly. And I think that's absolutely fair play. But you're talking the levels of where they are in the league. But whoever it is, and however it happens, that is a classic cup tie, and you've won it at the death. He's scored. I think that can be a jump-off point for other things, as we've seen plenty of times in the past. You know, we always talk about the Corley Woodrow goal kicking off the Edwards era, the one against Norwich. That was last minute. So that the timing of goals can really have a massive effect, and I think that one could.
Indeed, yeah. One thing we have to stop doing, Jimbo, is giving away free kicks we don't need to give away. Their third goal came from, sorry, not the third goal. The geezer hitting the crossbar came from a free kick we did not need to give away. He's on the touchline. Ain't going anywhere. They nearly score a 4th goal from a free kick that we've absolutely no point in giving away. I think it was given for an offside, but just stay onside in that situation, right? You know, don't need to be in the other half. You're 4-3 up going into injury time. You know that the whole world's going to go forward at this point. Injury time's about to run out. They've got absolutely nothing to lose. That ball's going in our box. We've just shown twice that we can't defend our box particularly well. Of all people to win a header in amongst 4 Luton players, the goalkeeper wins the header. And it falls to the fella who scored the 3rd goal. And when it fell to him, I was like just about to put my foot through the piece of wood that's in front of where I sit, because he can't miss. To be fair, I've seen it back, and actually Kearley is in his way. It's not quite the open goal that I thought it was. Certainly not the open goal that that Wells had at that end. But thankfully he shanks that volley and it goes wide, and the relief was tantamount, because I think if they pegged us back again, extra time would have been very, very tough, because we were tiring. We were running out of players that we could have brought on anyway. They'd have had their tails well and truly up. I mean, Savage is the positive character at the best of times anyway. He'd have had them well up for that extra time, and we would really have struggled in that extra time. So, thankfully he shanked that miss, and maybe that last 10 minutes is a sign that the luck is starting to turn a little bit. The Doffin clearance last Saturday, shanked finish and hit the crossbar this Friday. These are the things that used to happen against us, but for 2 years stopped happening against us. Maybe, just maybe, a little bit of I don't know what it is, just a more positive attitude or belief from the dugout, certainly. It's maybe starting to turn things our way. Either way, the fella, he's going to have nightmares, and he should score. He knows it. He was in tears. To be fair, the fella was in tears, and well done to the Luton fans who clapped him off. He deserved that because his performance was brilliant on the night. But,
yeah, I mean, if he puts his laces through it, I think that we're talking a different situation here, and probably not a good one.
I'm not overly sure I'm recording this podcast if he put his laces through that. I'm not. I might send a replacement in.
Yeah, I get what you mean. It was a whole couple of seasons in a couple of seconds, that passage of play, wasn't it? But the fact that he shanked it wide, I think that you can look at it and think that maybe things are starting to turn. You do need a bit of luck sometimes, and we've had precious little of it for such a long stretch that yeah, why not? Why not think of it like that? I certainly have come around to the idea that the way it played out is going to be more beneficial to us than it is negative.
Yeah, I said this to someone on Saturday. Funnily enough, I think we gained more from winning this game 4-3 than we would have done just coasting to a 3-0 win. I'm absolutely certain of that, because we've said it plenty of times on this podcast, and I asked Jack about it as well when we were down at the Content Creator Day. Whenever this team takes punch to the chin, as the reference I always use, it's waiting to be knocked out. Whereas this time, it took more than a punch to the chin. It took one to the chin, one to the gut, and one wherever else it could have been taken. And we were all waiting for it to fall apart, right? Everyone who was at Bournemouth that night, we all saw the similarities. But this time, we've come back fighting. We threw a punch back, and it's only one time, and we can't get ahead of ourselves because it is only one time. But you can't do it a second time without doing it a first time, can you? So if that's the start of us finally showing a little bit of, for the want of a better phrase, Betty Swallocks, then that's a good thing, right? Yeah, look, we're going to have a lot stronger tests. Our next preview will be arguably the strongest test we're going to have this season. But now that they'll go into that game now knowing that when it gets tough in moments in that game, and it will, Stockport are a good side, the best side in League One in terms of the league table right now, that when it gets tough, that we can bounce back, that we don't have to cave in. And I think we'll take so much from that, because if we'd won 3-0, we wouldn't have learnt that.
100% agree. I think that that all feeds into the narrative of a revival, however that happens. And it may be that, you take little setbacks here and there, but you can't let it affect so much of the season as it has done before. And I do think that there is so much more to be taken from the way that game was won. I think that, afterwards, Jack Wilshere said, sometimes you have to suffer. Well, we have suffered. We've suffered a lot, and we've suffered and suffered and suffered and suffered. But here we suffered and won. And I think that just changes the narrative a little bit on it, and potentially mindsets as well. Hopefully for maybe the fans that are in the ground, and certainly for the players that know that they can do that. And now that we've got players that are coming back as well, because Gideon Kader for me you'd start him all the time. Really, he's been fantastic in his short period here. But you've got players now that can come on, and he can come on as a player to change it. You've got options all over the pitch that you can. The wingers is not so much of a problem now. The thing you've probably got to look at now is whether the balance of the central defence is potentially right, and there's options there as well. So you've got all these players coming back, and even the ones that you mentioned, Jacob Brown, the long lost Jacob Brown, like being near, can all feed into the fact that if somebody isn't doing it, maybe you can change it for another player and they can do it. Or you've got players on the bench that come on and make a big difference. Because when you look at that bench, and how many times have we looked at benches and go, I don't know, who's going to change it there? Who's going to come on and do anything there? The pace of the team is looking really good. I know Izzy Jones is only just back, but my God, he's quick, and you forget. And when he gets really up to speed, we can have. It should be a good team that can do something. Now, and listen, whatever that something is, I'm going to play it cool on there. I'm not expecting too much, but maybe that changes after the next 10 games. You reassess it, don't you?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Yeah, you're right. There's been a lot of criticism of our recent recruitment, but we've got 4 bloody speedsters out wide, haven't we? 2 do the first hour, 2 do the next half hour. You ain't getting no relent. It's not relenting at any stage over the course of that. We've got more strikers than Chelsea, I think, at the minute. And
it's this thing as well that Tim Corcoran, when I spoke to him at the Content Creator Day, and also Jack, which is subsequently, they've all said we want to be the fittest team in the league. And if you are that team, then you can go towards the end of games and have the goal threat and score goals, as we did in this one, getting a late winner. But you can only do that if you are fit enough to do it. We looked like we were flagging when they were scoring their flurry of goals. But then suddenly there's another little extra gear you can go to. I can't think of the last time we've talked about extra gear that we've gone to. Really? I mean, maybe the last time we scored 4 goals was like, what? Was it potentially Brighton in the Premier League?
Well, yeah.
Yeah, and that was a really good day. And then it all went downhill from there.
Yeah, in a meaningful match, of course, people are going to be shouting. We did it against Barnet in the trophy earlier in this season. But, away from in games that the first team have played in, Newcastle would have been the last time that it happened. If we become the fittest team in the league with some of the youngsters that we've got, I mean, you look at Fanny, he's got 90-minute engine in him, absolutely no bother. The 4 wingers I've just mentioned. Okay, Wells is not getting any younger, but there's no signs that his engine's dropped off. Yates would then back him up. Al Hamady would back the 2 of them up. You've got a holding midfielder who gets about the pitch quite easily. For a holding midfielder, actually, Saville finds himself in the final third an awful lot, which is part of the game. We want to squeeze teams in the final third, and that's good. Got an athletic fullback in Cohen Bramall who seems to go up and down the line all day long. That's also good. Of course, we've still got to find the right back situation. That's either going to be Rue Walters or it's going to be January until we find the actual right back, but we're okay with people. I mean, I don't think Longwake did particularly badly the other night. Makosso's done okay when he's played there. Adoffin's there now as well. So yeah, apart from the centre of defence, right across the pitch, we've got athletes that can either go for 90 minutes or give you 60. I heard it referenced on, who did I hear it referenced today? Semenyo of Bournemouth. Apparently, Iraola says to him, give me everything you've got for 60 and I'm happy. And if you can do 90, fantastic. But if you come off after 60 having given absolutely everything, that's all I can ask from you. That's kind of what I get the feeling that Wilshere is going to do with his wingers. Just give me everything for 60, because I've got God knows how many wingers on the bench that can sort the last 30 out, or defensive players if we're leading. Yeah, it's exciting.
Yeah, well, there's no point having that squad that can affect games from the bench if you're not going to use them in an intelligent way. And I think that will be the case, and we've seen it in flashes, really, haven't we? With Kadea and Morris when they were switching in the early couple of games of Morris's time here, and I think that is what I would rather see. I've always thought that there's none. Just go all out try and win the game as early as possible if you can. I mean, Forest Green Rovers showed us that is not always the case, but the intention was right. The execution was right for an hour, and then it went a bit to pot. So there is stuff to work on. Obviously, you've got to hold your hands up there and say it wasn't perfect by any stretch of the imagination for that last half an hour. But there is things that we are seeing now that you perhaps weren't seeing enough of before, that give you cause for thinking that the stuff that they're working on in the training ground is now what we're seeing. And that is really useful because, I mean, I've lost count of the amount of times you've been on here going, I don't know what we're doing. I don't know how we're supposed to be going about this. And it showed.
Oh, yeah, there's a plan. You can definitely tell that there's a plan. There's a plan to play through the midfield, whereas before it was clearly a plan to play wide, which it never made any sense when you only had one player out wide on each side. At least now we've got two on each side. I mean, we've mentioned all the wingers, and Ali sat on the bench on Friday night, never came off it. Millie Ali, that is, not Ali Al-Hamadi. Don't think he's a left winger. Al-Hamadi. I think he was just thrown on there just to do the extra however many minutes that Izzy Jones didn't do, and that was fine. He's obviously a striker. He's also quite evidently not played much football in 2 months either, because some of his first touches were rusty, but thankfully when we needed a good touch, he delivered it into Yates for the winning goal. You're right though, Jimbo. The more times we go 3-0 up, and let's hope we do go 3-0 up more times, the more used to it we'll be, and we'll know how to deal with the situation, rather than, you did get a sense on Friday night, oh my God, we're 3-0 up here, what do we do now?
Yeah.
Didn't you?
Well, yeah, I mean, a lot of the time on the Bloomfield, it was one goal and done, really, wasn't it? And that was the problem. If you're not used to scoring that many goals, then games are going to be tight. So maybe that's something to get used to, but that's a nice problem to get used to, isn't it? If we're going to score more goals, and we should be scoring more goals, because the amount of attacking players that have been bought since the summer, and now the ones that are coming back, and will still be filtering back for the next month or so, hopefully. So we should be scoring more goals. We weren't even creating the chances to score the goals beforehand, but now we're creating those, because we're talking about 2 missed chances for Wells and Fanny in the first half. Not a great deal of the chances in the second half. I think we only got in their box twice, but one of them ended up in a goal. And then you're talking about when you need to be clinical. So already in this episode, we talked about how well Nordos went through in the EFL Trophy game. Never really felt that he was going to score that. But when Cadeo was put through against Forest Green Rovers, you thought, he's burying that, no problem whatsoever. And he did. So being clinical as well is important. If you're not going to score a lot of goals, you've got to score the opportunities you do get. So on both those fronts, that's looking a lot more positive. Yeah,
I agree. How many times under Matt did we sit here and say, how many missed chances can we do? And it was 5 or 6 a game, wasn't it? And good chances at that. Now we're getting, to the naked eye, I don't know if the numbers back it up or not, but we get in more chances of a better quality. The numbers definitely back that up, because the XG numbers just keep on going up and up and up, which is obviously the one that determines the quality of the chance. And also, there are more people there now. Put the ball in the back of the net. You look back at the Northampton goal. If Fanny doesn't put that cross in, Wells is behind him to tap in as well. You look at a couple of the goals or a couple of the chances against Brighton, there are people waiting if the person who scored doesn't score. And the same again the other night. More people are getting into positions. We are getting into better opportunities. How many times, just since Jack has arrived, has a Luton player been one-on-one with a goalkeeper in the 4 games? I'm losing count, because Yates went through one-on-one at Northampton and didn't go around him quite well enough. Nordas went through one-on-one. Kadir was through one-on-one. That was not happening.
Mm-mm.
It just was not happening. Not only are we becoming more clinical, we're becoming more clinical because the chances are easier, because we are clean through on goal. And it's all a circle that's making its way round to making us a much better attacking unit. Listen, defensively, we ain't even a work in progress yet, are we? I mean, I don't even know if we're a work yet, let alone a work in progress. But at some point that is going to happen, because you've got Chris Powell there, who was one of the best left backs this country had in his day. You know, if Stuart Pearce wasn't around, Chris Powell would have been the memorable left back of his generation, right? So he'll know how to organise a defence. But maybe, just maybe, they wanted to get some confidence into the side. And whereas Matt came in and tried to shore things up but realised that he couldn't, maybe Jack and the rest of them have thought, well, let's go Kevin Keegan and let's go and score some goals. Because then it don't matter if you'll concede 2 at the other end or even the other night 3 at the other end, because we're going to outscore you. Whereas even though Matt tried to shore us up, we never really kept many clean sheets, but it always came to the detriment of, I can't remember what the stat was. It was something like 10 games at home or something daft like that we didn't score under Matt, and he was only in 9 months. I get the feeling that's not going to be the case under Jack. I know we didn't score in his first game, missed a penalty. I don't think there's going to be many games under Jack that Luton don't score unless it involves missing an avalanche of big chances.
Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, you don't even have to you don't have to ponder the mysteries of XG for this one. You can look at the stats was that we had 5 shots on target and we scored 4 goals. Now, admittedly, Forest Green Rovers had many more shots on target. They got into the box almost double the amount of times that Luton did. But who got the most amount of goals? That's the thing, isn't it? It's clinical. And that's what we need. And that's what we haven't seen for such a long time.
Well, especially in a cup. You know, don't matter what the score is. You just got to score 1 more than them and get yourself into the next round. And that's what we did. And we are in the next round. Right old cup tie, wasn't it? We've seen some cup ties at Kenilworth Road, but that was a right old cup tie. And if neutrals watching on certainly got their money's worth, didn't they? And everyone in the ground did as well. So the Town are into the second round of the FA Cup, where the draw is taking place 6:45 Monday night on TNT Sports ahead of the live game, Luton are Ball 3. If you don't have TNT Sports, they're showing the draw on their YouTube channel so everyone can see who we get in the next round. It is absolutely certain we are getting Bristol Rovers, right?
Well, it'd be nice to say thanks and goodbye, and well, just to see Tom Lockyer again on a pitch if that's the case.
Soon as I saw Bristol Rovers had beaten Bromley, don't even need to draw it out, lads. We know, all you got to tell us is where it is. We know that's the draw. It's just fate.
Yeah.
In much the same way we had Pelly in the other trophy.
Oh, it's just going to be a rerun of us going to old teammates, is it then?
I think so.
Okay, well,
there's enough of them dotted around.
Yeah. Can we make it at Kenilworth Road, not Bristol, please?
Yes, I agree.
Yeah, no, that would be lovely. It's we need a moment with both of those players that you mentioned there, Pelly and Lockyer, and however that comes. Hopefully, it's more than just us playing those teams, and we get those testimonials or proper goodbyes that have been promised. No reason to believe that they won't happen. We just got to wait, I suppose. But yeah, we need those players are so big for us and meant so much to us that we need something.
We do. It's important to remember that they've not finished their careers though, and they're still going to be determined to do things at their current clubs, aren't they? So there'll be a time down the line that that they get the recognition that they deserve. Absolutely, and we're right here for it. That's pretty much it for this episode of the podcast, but we did the third leg of our competition in the review for the Northampton game, and we said that we'd announce the winner in this one, and it's time, Jimbo. The last of the copies of the brand new book published by Hatters fan journalist and author Rob Hadgraff, Luton Town's Miracle, the fairy tale rise from non-league to the Premier League. It's a month-by-month chronicle of that decade-long journey from obscurity to football's top table. The final question that we posed last week was which Luton forward scored against Reading in 2022 by hiding behind their goalkeeper and waiting for him to unknowingly drop the ball. The answer, of course, was Harry Cornick, who that chance that Nordas had the other night reminded me so much of Cornick. You never fancied him when he went through like that either, did you?
Yeah, it did, to be fair. I mean, that was a cheeky little number there, wasn't it?
That was a brilliant one. Sealed our playoff spot, and it was a year too soon, but it was still a memorable goal. The Wheel of Fortune's back out, ladies and gentlemen, and all of the correct answers, and there were plenty of you, over 80, I think there were, has been placed into this Wheel of Fortune, which Jimbo's about to get on the old button. No picking your mates this time after Callum from last week, please.
We'll try and get somebody I don't know. But here we go. All right. The wheel's spinning. As you can see on the screen, or if you're just on audio, the wheel is spinning and the winner, hopefully,
Drum roll, please.
is going to be picked. Now, who we got? The Josh Way 7764. There you go. You are the winner of the final book from Rob Hadgrass. Congratulations.
Josh, if you can drop me an email, media, MEDIA, at lutontownsupporterstrust.com with your name and address, we'll get that book sent out to you. Congratulations to you. That might not be it for giveaways, Jimbo, because although that's the 3 books from Rob that we've got to give away, we are agonisingly close to 3,000 subscribers on our YouTube channel now. And once we get to 3,000, that's probably a good enough number for us to do another giveaway, do you not think?
Absolutely, I do. Yeah. How are we going to do it?
I don't know. We'll plan that. Might not be exactly when we hit 3,000, but we'll do something, depending on when it is. We'll get some prizes and we'll get some sort of giveaway done. Don't worry, I'm not putting you forward for a dinner with Jimbo or anything like that.
So if you haven't subscribed, then do so, because you'll only be in the pot if you are subscribed. So I know some of you watch all the time. Thank you very much. Click that button, subscribe on the old YouTube channel, and we'll get to the giveaway sooner rather than later.
Absolutely. Yep. Thanks to everyone who has supported the podcast over the last few weeks, particularly the last fortnight with the interviews that we've put up on the channel and everything else. And it's great to hear that you've enjoyed them and that you've learnt some things. That was the whole idea of it, really, Jimbo, wasn't it? I mean, to get some information out there, to hear from the people behind the scenes, and it seems like it's had the desired effect.
I think so. A lot of good comments. I know that we could have done many, many more minutes with all of them, really, because it was all so fascinating. So that's the next point of call for us to try and get you those longer formal chats, because I think you get more value out of those. But I mean, in terms of getting those people in front of the camera, I think that it's been fantastic, and the reaction's been really good. So yeah, if you do like them, get on the videos that you like, comment on them, watch them more, tell them to your mates, because the more people that look at them, then it ultimately is going to show that it's a worthwhile place to have those conversations with those people that matter at the club, and I think that it can only be positive in that way.
Yeah, agreed. The more reach that they get, the more point there is in people giving up their time to us, and it works out really well. Been pretty positive on this podcast, Jimbo, but unfortunately we've got to end on a negative, sour note. We've spoken a lot about Ted and Mengi so far in this podcast, and unfortunately news broke on Saturday evening that he's the latest player in a line of Luton players that have been subject to racial abuse. It's just, I don't know how many times we've got to sit here and condemn this, because it is just vile. There is no place for it in society, no place for it in football, and absolutely no place for it inside Kenilworth Road. And I don't know how it can stop, but it's got to stop.
Well, yeah, it has to stop. I'm just, I'm so fed up of this mindset, of this disease of racism. I'm just, how are we still here? I'm just lost for words on it, because do you not want, I don't even know, I can't even begin to get in the mindset of these people. Why you think that that's acceptable to be saying that to anybody? I honestly, I think that they need to be named and shamed, as far as I'm concerned, because just saying that it's not good enough, it's probably not working. If you can pinpoint them, I'm sure there's work going on to try and do that. I think there's been bannings before. Then maybe that's the only way, but it just seems like a flood now, and it's getting worse in the world, it's getting worse in the country. It's just it's thoroughly depressing, and it goes without saying that we stand behind Ted and Mengi with this, and just honestly, I just want to give some heads a wobble.
Yeah, absolutely. Not just the two of us, but every Luton fan, send our love and strength to you, Ted. And hope this vile abuse just stops, and that people responsible for stopping it can actually do so. And well done for flagging it up. And making people aware of it. That is it for this episode of the podcast. Thanks again to all of the folks at Marsh House, the proud new home of the Luton Town Supporters Trust podcast. Appreciate your support as always, guys, as we do Sean Grant and the Wolfgang for our intro music. From Jimbo and myself, let the heart rate go back to a bit more normal now. On you, actors.